What is up? Doing another post-trading analysis on a trade I took today on ASTER. So here's the ASTER chart. You can see that we had an aggressive pump up from launch, move up, and then since then we have been having a structured move down, leaving nothing but buy side liquidity above. You can see all the liquidity you have above. Lots of structured moves down. We can count real quick. That's 1, 2, 3, somewhat of a 4 and a 5. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 structure moves down. So usually between 3 to 5 structure moves down, you see some sort of relief. So you either see some sort of relief or you completely leave the environment, which is what it looks like we're doing now. Zooming in, we came down and took the perpetual contract launch date low, and we formed this range on that 6th rotation down. We have a range low, deviation, and if we zoom in here, we had a liquidity sweep right there with a demand creation here. Some nice, low formation, and then a demand creation here. So this was the model that I longed. You can see that, in this upper section of the range, there was nothing but buy side liquidity on that entire move down. Tiny supply zone here that is mitigated on a lower time frame. And yeah, above that, you can just see it was just so much liquidity above. So, if this chart is intended to have a reversal back up, this could be a good place to do so. It just needs to be in line with Bitcoin, which, as you can see, Bitcoin's dumping lower, which is just bringing the entire crypto market down with it. So it's not going to necessarily have that expansion when Bitcoin is having this move down, right? So that's why you got to trade altcoins in combination with your expectation on Bitcoin. So yep, locally here we got the move up, and then we had structure trending down into the third tap, and we formed a range coming into this third tap right here. And within this range, we had a Model 1 accumulation. So we had TCT in TCT here, coming into that third tap POI. If I zoom in on the third tap POI, you can see it's an extremely clean demand zone right here with the low time frame inefficiency starting directly above it, and nice liquidity POI separating it from the inefficiency where you have all this liquidity, small inefficiency, and then a clear order block. You can see that clean liquidity buildup and then clear order block right there. That is structured demand on the lower time frame. Keeping things clean there. So yeah, and then locally within this model, we got that break within the volume profile. Super clean technicals on this one. 5-minute clear aggressive breaker structure after coming into the third tap POI with nothing but liquidity above, except for, I think there was one small supply zone near that breaker structure level, which is always what you got to be careful of. Nothing too significant to stop me from taking the trade, of course, but and if you were a bit more skeptical there, you can look for, you also got that reconfirmation. I think it was on the 1. Clear reconfirmation there on that aggressive push, so you could have entered either on that 5-minute break up there or down here with the stop loss below there, which this actually came into the extreme demand, so you could even look at this as its own tap. Just like this. And when we did get that reconfirmation, I was already positioned, so I just trailed my stop loss up. So to show my stop loss up to this low, de-risking the position partially. Key thing to note here is that we needed to see some follow through because, you know, Bitcoin was in that bearish environment. Although it was coming into a key demand POI, you were getting those deep closes right here into that demand POI, which wasn't looking as good because, you know, in the higher time frame, you see how you were closing those candles where, you know, previously you were getting those wicks down. So things were looking good for a local reversal on Bitcoin when you're getting these wicks coming, you know, approaching the demand zone, that inducement, and then you actually come into the demand zone. You want to see, you know, a fast reaction from it, and you're closing candles below. So closing candles below the low, showing that this low wasn't being used as liquidity that market makers were buying into. This low was being used, you know, just as, you know, just getting taken regularly, and people were willing, market makers were willing to sell price at these levels. That's what the close indicates. They weren't trying to buy, and you see it, that aggressive reversal wasn't a forced move into it just to get that acceptance back up. So we really needed to see some, you know, movement in that Asia session that was about to open when we entered ASTER. I think ASTER we entered right here. We wanted to see, you know, some follow through immediately leaving this area, because although you got some closes, maybe you you know, spent a little bit of time, but then you know, right as Asia session opens, for example, you can just get that squeeze back up in those closes. You know, that was end up being a wick on the higher time frame. But when you started to consolidate and then ASTER broke structure here, you know, just with that clean, clear, structured move up after confirming like this. We have that clean, clear, structured move up after confirming. This is drawn incorrectly. You get the point, though. Yeah, let's try that right. Boom, with the level 2. When you get that break of structure, or this one, or even this one, it confirms the rotation back down to that low. So when Bitcoin's not seeing the follow through that it needs to see at that exact moment, and then ASTER is showing that signs of weakness, you could have potentially de-risked and exited the trade there. I end up just leaving it running, and, you know, just accepting the risk and moving on. So, you know, that's a learning point for me there as well. Just, you know, seeing that overall price behavior. You know, over time, I'm gonna get these patterns down more. I'm just, you know, gonna be more confident with exiting. For now, though, you know, I'm willing to just accept the risk on a high probability model like this. You know, because the RR, if this thing played out, was about a 10. So, you know, high probability model, quality RR opportunity right there. So I just accepted the risk and accepted the loss. So yeah, that was the trade on ASTER. Appreciate you guys for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. Later.